Got me on the mic, now let's spill the tea. Talking courtside dreams from history. Legends on the blacktop now and then. From Wilt to Steph, we hit it again. Both better chimes in, let's go deep. Young blood's rising, can't skip a beat. Puppy prospects with fire in their eyes. Draft night suckers and hoop dream highs. Wire to wire, bring the heat. Podcast magic can't be beat. Do better, we're both better. Or who cares? Trendsetters.
What's poppin', y'all? It is your boy, Guard E3, and welcome to the And One podcast. Of course, we got a lot of fun stuff to talk about tonight, including a record-breaking performance from a couple days ago, but why don't I introduce you to the greatest co-host of all time? Of course, he is Mo Betta. How you doing, Mo?
I'm doing great on a Thursday night. We're talking hoops, so I'm always excited.
No, absolutely. And it's going to be a great week to talk hoops. But you know how we got to start, Mo? Underrated player of the week. Mo, do you have got an underrated player of the week for this week?
I think my underrated player of the week. I'm gonna shout out a guy who he's probably the best player on his team, but I think he's underrated in how he can affect games. I'm gonna shout out Josh Giddey. I'm actually a big fan of Josh Giddey's game. Obviously, there's no secret that Josh Giddey's almost a walking triple-double. He's a 6'10" walking triple-double, can beat you off the dribble, get to the rim. He's improved his post game and his perimeter shooting. And he's just a terrific all-around basketball player. Do I think Josh Giddey should be somebody's number one guy? Maybe not that, but I do think Josh Giddey is a strong building block for the Bulls going forward. So I want to shout out Josh Giddey because I think that once he gets his guy around him or with him, I think the Bulls are going to be on the upswing. But Josh Giddey, to me, is an underrated building block.
Absolutely. He's been balling in Chicago. I got a young guy from a team that I thought highly of, and while I think overall I've been disappointing, I gotta shout this guy out. Orlando Magic. I've shouted out Desmond Bane before, but I gotta shout out his teammate, Tristan De La Silva. Great young guy, been a great 3-and-D, wing for him off the bench. I love the energy and effort that kid brings. It's hard to get an impact player, that in the draft like this quickly. And Tristan De La Silva's development has been really great for him. So I want to give a shout out to Tristan De La Silva of the Orlando Magic.
That's a great one. That might be the best one in a minute. Partner, you got me on that one. I love that one because this kid was not projected to be the kind of player he's ended up being. Like Anthony Black, more talent, more explosive scorer, but De La Silva is one of those kind of guys that does everything well. He makes winning plays, can defend at a high level, make timely shots, and he's an underrated athlete. So yeah, shout out to him. And by the way, I think he's only going to get better.
He's going to be a guy that I think that every contender wants. I think he'll be a superstar in his own role. Yeah. And he'll end up being a great 3-and-D, high-level role player that every team's dying for in free agency. So
agreed.
He keeps it up. He's going to make a whole lot of money for himself.
Oh, yeah, facts.
Hey, what's good, John? The Hornets, an upcoming team that can knock some teams out this year, let alone next year. This year, they could absolutely knock some teams out.
Oh, I'm on board, John. I'm on board 100% with you.
It's interesting to me. I think the Hornets are a team that could very realistically, I'm not saying that they'd knock off anybody in the East, but if they make the playoffs, whoever draws them in the first round is in for a tough series. This is a fun, young team, and I think the scariest part about them is the playoffs are supposed to be this high-pressure situation. I don't think the Hornets care, and that's terrifying. They can seemingly dust off the pressure, have fun, and play their game. And I think this is a team that no matter who draws them in the first round of the playoffs, good luck because they are getting really hot at the perfect time.
This is a team that if they get into the postseason, they're playing with house money. So, and they're young, so they don't know what they don't know. And to me, if you come in there, be it the 1 seed or the 2 seed, and you have to face them right off the box, I don't think that's an easy out. I think it's a hard. They're actually an explosive offensive team, and they've become competitive on defense. And now they've got multiple guys who can drop 20 on a given night. Not just Concanipple, not just Lamelo. I just think that this is a very talented team on both sides of the basketball. And it's weird because it clicked. It felt like it clicked for them like about 6 weeks ago or so. And they just played really good basketball. And I hope they can maintain it long enough. I'm rooting for them to get into postseason because I do think the fact that the Eastern Conference is so wide open, because there's not a dominant team in the East. There's some good ones, but there's no one dominant team. I think the Hornets have the potential to upset a higher seed.
Say honestly, and this might sound crazy at first, but if they pulled off like a 2021 Atlanta Hawks run, I wouldn't be shocked. Like there's teams that just get hot at the right time, and they're just almost impossible to stop. And if the Hornets do win a playoff series, at that point, like the sky's the limit. Like if they made the Eastern Conference Finals, it would not surprise me.
Could you imagine their confidence level if they win a series? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't want to mess with a juggernaut like that once they get going. And I'm not sitting here telling you guys in the chat and everybody joining us that I'm guaranteeing this is going to happen. But I am saying this. For the first time in a long time, it looked like the Hornets have turned the corner and they have a bright future ahead.
And I think this will definitely change if they keep at the rate they're going. They'll definitely be playing on Christmas in the next couple of years. Now, if they win a playoff series, I feel like LaMelo Ball is going to do the funniest thing ever in the second round. Like, off the rip, just take like an off-legged 3-point attempt that's contested, and we're going to be like, all right, LaMelo, you got it. You got it, buddy.
I mean, Brett, he takes shots that when you see them, they look like horse shots, but they're actually his regular shots.
And that's almost why I think that LaMelo Ball is almost actually playoff built. A lot of guys really, struggle in the playoffs because of a drop in efficiency, but guys who are tough shot makers, those are normally guys who translate very well to the playoffs. I think that's, why Kobe didn't really seem phased by the playoffs, because those, low percentage shots were already the ones he's taking, so nothing changed from his shot diet. Hakeem was the same way.
Yeah. I think Concanipple is going to be that way too, and it's odd for me to say that of a rookie, but Concanipple doesn't play like a rookie. Again, LaMelo is their biggest name. He's probably their on the court leader, but I think the change in the culture has been the rookie. It's been Concanipple. Concanipple, I guarantee you, he translates well in the postseason. He's just one of those dudes. He's built for that. So I expect if and when they get to the postseason, Concanipple will play well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. But Mo, we got to talk about the newest member of the 80-point club. The record books officially say Wilt Chamberlain, Bam Adebayo, and Kobe Bryant. Now, I don't know about you, Mo, but I'm kind of tired of this whole talk about it. Was the 83 ethical? Was it not ethical? Bro, who cares? We just got to witness NBA history, and the first thing people want to do is nitpick it to death.
Right.
It's spoiler alert, there is no such thing as an ethical 80-plus point game. You can nitpick anything. Look, you want to question the ending where the Wizards start playing, the foul game, and everybody's playing the foul game. If you didn't like the ending, I don't disagree with that. It was just kind of hard to watch at the end. But to use anything to discredit Bam, come on, just let the dude have his moment.
That's all I'm saying. That is all I'm saying to everybody out there that's annoyed or for whatever reason angry that this happened. Bam has been one of the type of players, Brett, that he's worked himself into becoming an all-star caliber player. You know what I mean? He didn't come out. Nobody touted Bam Adebayo to be a multiple-time all-star, a 5-time all-NBA defender. I mean, I think he was drafted the year he was drafted. I think he was either the 14th or 15th pick, so he wasn't a lottery pick, but he's worked his way up, and he's a class act on and off the court. He's the kind of guy you don't root against, and people can nitpick about how it happened. The thing that won't change is that 83 number. It's a real number, and it's not going away. And I'm with you. If you want to say you were annoyed about the fouling on both teams' part at the end, I was too. But let's not forget, the man scored 43 points in the first half. I would argue that anybody, and he, by the way, he's not known as a scorer, but any scorer who scores 43 points in the first half, you're automatically going to switch to I got a shot at 81 or more, right? That it's gonna be on your teammates' mind, your mind, the fans' mind. I didn't have a problem with it when he had 60 plus in the third. The only thing I said was, and I said this before we went on the air live, is it was a blowout. And at some point, you could have said, most guys, they would have taken him out and said, well, look, you got 69, great game, and let's rest you. But I'm not going to kill Spoelstra in the Heat for saying, you got a shot at scoring 75 or 80. Let's go for it. A lot of fans are angry, and I don't know if they're just all NBA fans, Brett, or they're Kobe fans. I would say this, and you said it better than I did. Kobe Bryant was all about being a competitor, going forward in the seizing the moment, not letting up. If Bam Adebayo had 78 points or 79 points and said, take me out, Spo, because out of respect to Kobe. I think the best way you respect Kobe Bryant and what Kobe Bryant was about is if you go for it, which to Bam's credit, he did.
It's very similar to when Kobe saw it against the Raptors that he could get to 80. Like, he could pass Wilt and take second. Like, he didn't have to sit out. He went and got the record. Like sometimes people forget, right, that at the 4 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, Kobe was at like 73. He already had the Lakers franchise record.
Right.
And it was a game, but at that point, it was a 17-point game against a 14-win Raptors team. So it's not like Kobe didn't do the same thing to Wilt years back. So, and if Kobe, were still with us, he would have probably been the first guy to show up to the, his house and congratulate Bam.
Guaranteed it.
He, even before he tragically passed, he said, yeah, I want people to, break my record. Like, I want people to compete. So I think it's just mainly Kobe fans that are upset about it. Like, it's weird though, because if you watched and knew like how competitive Kobe is, you would know at the same time, like, Kobe would have wanted Bam to go for it and try to break it.
And to me, it's impressive from this standpoint too, Brett. Generally, when something like this happens, it's a guy who's known as a scorer. Maybe they're offended because Bam he's actually the opposite of that. He's mostly known for being a very good all-around player and a great defender. He's not a scorer. He's not a primary scorer. So I think it's amazing that a guy who's not a primary scorer had this amazing career night. I'm going to celebrate it. I'm going to give Bam his flowers. I'm not going to get caught up in all the other stuff. And again, like I said, if you knew what Kobe thought and how Kobe played the game, I think Kobe would have been insulted had Bam taken himself out with the opportunity to pass Kobe up. So I'm good.
Oh yeah, I can only imagine. Like, Bam was such a funny guy to do it. My only wish is I wish it would have been somebody like Rudy Gobert, just because Twitter would have melted down so hard.
Brett, if it's Rudy Gobert, the internet will break.
Oh, just giving up like 40 lobs in the same game too would be a hilarious sight.
Wait a minute now, not just the lobs, because he showed off that fadeaway, that one-step fadeaway Dirk style. Like, could you imagine Rudy getting off, hitting like 12 jumpers? Like, look, I would love, it's not going to happen, but if Rudy Gobert, even if he just dropped 60 points, I think the internet would break.
Yeah, Rudy's just such a funny offensive guy because he'll randomly flash like, hey, look what I can do, and just never do it again. like that. Like ironically against the Wizards too, like where he like jab stepped and blew by Sar and threw the hammer down. I'm like, when did this happen? Like if you can do anything close to that consistently, look out. What if it was Ben Simmons? Oh God.
Ooh, I take that back. The only other player that would make the internet break more than Rudy would be Ben, especially if you're talking about Ben Simmons coming back and doing it after all the things that he's been through, right? Like Ben Simmons, the guy that refuses to shoot. If Ben Simmons came back, they would have to turn that into a movie. That would have to be a movie.
I think my favorite part about this whole Bam thing is when he did it, all of a sudden the people that doubted Wilt scored 100, there all of a sudden I see people going, wait a minute, Wilt probably now did score 100.
Yeah, that I'm glad you brought that up. I'm like, wait a minute. So all this time it was because we didn't see it. We don't know if he did it. But when they saw Bam do it, they were like, I think Will could have got 100. Yeah, he probably did that. He probably like it's so disrespectful to Bam. I don't question Wilt's 100. We just didn't see it, but then games weren't televised like that. So I don't think it's an urban myth or nothing like that. It happened. But we did get to see Kobe do it, and we did get to see Bam do it just now. And we've seen guys like Devin Booker drop 70, and Embiid and Luka drop 73 against the Hawks. And I'm sure there's somebody around the corner that'll do it again. Like I said, this throws everybody off because it's Bam and he's not expected to score like that. Luka going off for 73 or Devin Booker, that doesn't shock me. I actually expect at some point in his career, Luka's going to go for more than 73. He'll probably go for 80 or more. I think that's going to happen. I think D Book could do it. I told you before the show, it wouldn't have shocked me had Steph done it.
I want last game I want to see it. Like right before Steph retires, I want him to go full Kobe. I want him to like smash the record for 3-point attempts. Like the record right now is 24. I need at least 30. Like go crazy, Steph. Just chuck. That's all I want.
Matter of fact, all due respect, I want all the old guard. And when I say old guard, I'm talking about, I'm talking about Bron. I'm talking about KD. I'm talking about Steph, Harden, to a lesser degree, DeRozan, but Kawhi, the guys that have carried the league better part of the decade that are all 34 and up. I want KD to do something he never did. I want KD to take 35, 40 shots. I want him to. His last game, I want KD to go for it. I want Steph, like you said, I want Steph to come out his final game and take 30 shots, and they're all threes.
Yeah, that I will admit that is, I think, something that Kobe nailed in his retirement game. Like he knew what we wanted to see, and he gave it to us. Like, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not looking for Roy Hibbert post ups this game, buddy. Give that rock to Kobe. Let him shoot.
And I loved it, by the way. And honestly, watching the game, it wasn't even the fact that the Lakers won. That was kind of the cherry on top. But it was watching Kobe say, I'm about to wear my arms out because I'm shooting tonight. I'm not passing the rock. I'm shooting the rock. And I think he went out the way Kobe Bryant would go out. And I love that.
No, absolutely. Now I got some fun trivia for, you in the chat, Mo. Now we kind of Bam joined an exclusive club of, it's only like 8 players long, that have attempted 22 or more threes. Chad, if you want to join in on this, obviously you're more than welcome. But can you name the other players that are in the 22 and over 3-point club?
So I'm gonna keep it a buck. I never study for these. I can only go with the obvious ones, so I'm not gonna know them all. But I'm gonna go. Steph has probably done it. I'm gonna go. Damian Lillard has probably done it. I'm gonna say James Harden has probably done it. I would have thought Clay would have done it.
He did.
And of course, Bam has done it. So I'm at a loss for who else is on that list.
John did nail one of them. J.R. Smith has done it.
Really? JR took 22 threes without getting yelled at?
Oh, yeah.
Wow. How well did he shoot that night?
I think he was actually pretty good. I think he was 10 of 22 that night.
That's really good. I'm impressed.
Say, yeah. Oh, you know what? It's funny. John nailed the other one. That I thought would be
I just saw that name come up on the screen. Is that real? Marcus Smart. Look,
Marcus Smart.
Marcus Smart took 22 threes. Look, all due respect, because he was a great leader with the Celtics, a great defender. But if I had one bugaboo about Marcus Smart, he was a horrible shooter, especially as a 3-point shooter. Marcus Smart took 22 threes in a game. Were they just getting smoked and he just shot a lot at the end, or was it a back and forth game and he was just on he was flaming?
He was just hot. He was 11 of 22 from the 3-point line that game.
Marcus Smart hit 11 threes? Wow. That's crazy to me.
That is beautiful. And yeah, no, James Harden does have the most.
Shout out to Marcus Smart. That's impressive. I would have I'm saying it right now. J.R. Smith doesn't really surprise me, but Marcus Smart does. I would have never guessed. Never guessed.
That's why I said there's a name in here that you'd be surprised at, and you're like, oh, no, please don't do that again. It worked, but please don't do it again. Yeah, no, Marcus Smart going 11 of 22 from 3 was something that really caught me off guard.
By the way, I'm curious, is that the Celtics record for threes in a game? I'm wondering.
Yep, that's the Celtics record for most attempts.
See that goes into a whole nother trivia question. So Marcus Smart has the Celtics record for the most, not just the most attempts, but the most made threes, right?
No, the most made threes is actually Klay Thompson with 14.
No, I mean like the most made threes for the Celtics. Does he have the Celtics record for threes made in the game?
Yeah, he does. I believe so.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised by Klay making 14. That doesn't shock me at all.
I do think I'm like 90% sure that 11 is the 11 is the record. Yeah. Okay. They've had so many good 3-point shooters that it took me a minute. I'm like, is it? Yeah, there's a 4-way tie with or 3-way tie with Hauser, Pritchard, and Jaylen Brown after him.
Okay. I can see Pritchard breaking that record. I can see Pritchard hitting more than 11.
It's wild to think how different eras are now, because if I told you who led like the Celtics in most threes in a game, you'd assume like Ray Allen would be on the list somewhere, but he isn't.
He would have been the first name I would have said.
Yeah, it's just wild how different the games are nowadays. Because I would have been like, yeah, Ray Allen. Like, nah, it's Marcus Smart, Peyton Pritchard, JB, and you're just like, huh?
Wow. Well, but this is true. When Ray Allen was a Celtic, this is early 2000s. People were still taking like 4 and 5 threes a game. Now it's so common for guys to take 10 and 12 threes a game, and it's not even considered like something crazy. It's just routine.
I'll say, and Ray Allen also, he also loved to take those like deep twos as well. So he was not hesitating to step inside the arc and launch up some deep twos, or I'd say, or attack the rim.
It's weird because the analytics would tell you that they don't love the mid range. So if you don't love the mid range, you probably hate the guy that takes 19-foot jump shots.
Oh, I'd say, what's funny? The one guy I would have loved to see play in this era would be Kevin Garnett, but the analytics would he'd be fighting the analytics department every time, because we all know his favorite shot, foot on the line, deep too.
Yes, they would have hated KG, but I love KG. And by the way, he shot that thing at a high level.
Yeah, Pritchard and Hauser, and then of course Jaylen Brown also had 10.
The thing about Hauser, and maybe it's just me, maybe I'm just bad luck. Every time I watch the Celtics play, and the announcers are always talking about how great a shooter Hauser is, he never shoots well whenever I watch them play.
Well, don't say that too loud. We're going to be banned from doing Celtics watch-alongs in the playoffs by Kyle.
My bad, Kyle, if you're listening. I mean, I'm not trying to. I'm just saying.
No, absolutely. I figure, and it was a weird scoring night in general, though, outside of Bam, too. Like, we had a campaign 32-point game. Kuzma went for over 30. Like, there were some surprising stat lines from that. So I personally loved, like, the final month and a half of basketball. Everybody, hates on it. But I feel like it's just this is like to me where like the most random things happen, and I'm here for it. Like I didn't have a Pat Connaughton 41-point game on my bingo card, but in game 82 last year, he just went off for 41 out of nowhere.
You know what? I watched that entire game and I was mad at myself because my friend did a parlay and he took the over that Connaughton would score. It said would basically what he said he would score 10 or more points, and I was like, that's easy. He said that he would score 20, and I was like, no way in hell. Yeah, so he made out big. Look, I'm with you. I actually enjoy this portion of the season. And I know a lot of it is posturing and getting ready for the postseason. If you're a contender, if you're a team that's fighting to get in, it's all about business. So I get that. But I think that this time of the year, you get a lot of random performances that you don't see coming. And I think that's the great part about sports. Like a guy like Cam Payne, who's a good NBA player, but he's bounced around here and there. For him to come out and have a big 30-plus game, that's awesome. That's awesome. For Kuzma to have a big game like that, I like stuff like that. I want a guy like what's the guy for the Lakers? Like I want a guy like Vando. I want Vando to have a 40-point game.
Hey, and hey, shout out to Ron Harper Jr. that day too. 22 on perfect shooting from the field.
He balled. And let me ask you this, because a lot of people are I guess they're trying to will it into existence. They're saying Jaylen Brown is no worse than first or second for MVP. I'm a Jaylen Brown fan. I think you're a Jaylen Brown fan. I love that he's having the season that he's having. It's a career. He's been terrific, but I don't have him in the top 3. I have him in the top 5, but I don't have him ahead of SGA. I don't have him ahead of Cade Cunningham, and I still don't have him. He might be ahead of Joker because the Nuggets have actually slid to a position where the Lakers can overtake them, but I don't have Jaylen Brown ahead of Wemby. I've got him in the top 5. I think he certainly deserves MVP consideration, but if SGA is upright, and did you see what SGA did the other night? Like, no, that is the defending MVP. And his numbers haven't gone down. They're as good as they were last year. The Thunder are heading towards a similar record. They're the defending champions. You got to beat the man. You got to beat the man. Like Jaylen Brown's having a career year for Jaylen Brown, but if we're being honest, is Jaylen Brown's season better than SGA's season? No. And I don't think it's better than Cade Cunningham's season. And if you've seen what Wemby's done the last month, it's not better than Wemby's season. And if you were strictly a numbers guy, it's not better than Joker's season.
No, I agree. I agree with that. With JB, like off the top of my head for MVP voting, because let's see, Jokic is still qualifies for it, so I'd put Jokic ahead of him. SGA, Wemby, for sure, they're still qualified as of this moment. So I'd put both of those guys ahead of them, and I'd put Cade. So I think JB MVP conversations start around 5, and at that point, you can try to make the argument like, yeah, this is who I should be in over Cade Cunningham. And you could probably make a good argument, but I would still take Cade. Yeah. Like, I respect the argument, but I don't agree with this notion because it's not Stephen A pushing it. He's like, I'm going to make sure he doesn't get robbed. I'm like, robbed of what?
Right.
Who's robbing him?
You saw Stephen A this morning making it seem like there was a conspiracy to make Jaylen Brown not, like, if you want to get into the conversation that he should have been on the Olympic team, I agree with that. But that don't have nothing to do with whether he's MVP or not. He's having an MVP caliber season. I think everybody agrees with that. The problem is there are 4 other guys that are having better seasons. It's not if SGA wins, not a conspiracy. If Joker wins, not a conspiracy. If Cade wins, not a conspiracy. Like I love Jaylen Brown. I'm a big fan, and he deserves all the credit in the world. But trying to talk it into existence, I don't get. Like I think Stephen A likes to say things just to say things. If Jaylen Brown wants to elevate himself in the MVP conversation, and he can, he needs to have a monster game tonight playing against SGA and the Thunder. That because people also are very visual. I've watched the last 3 Thunder games, and SGA has looked like the monster that he was last year, especially how he hit that game winners. Like Jalen Brown needs a moment where he either matches or outright outplays SGA on national TV.
No, absolutely. Which two teams are the most fraudulent in each conference? So we're picking a fraudulent team from each conference.
That's easy. Yeah, you want me to go first?
Yeah, why don't you go first on this one?
All
I
right.
got to think about the East.
So one of them's easy. In the West, it's the Lakers. And by the way, I say this, chat, fully being a diehard, lifelong Laker fan. They are a fraudulent title contender, if you even think they're a title contender.
I'll pick a slightly different team because I do think the Lakers are a good answer. I also think the Houston Rockets are a good answer.
Ooh, I agree. I
Like,
agree. I like yours better because there was so much hype about the Rockets winning the title early in the season. I don't even know if the Rockets are better than the Lakers. Yeah, I agree. Yours is better.
I'll say they're just so predicated on offensive rebounding that as soon as Steven Adams went down with an injury, like they were making it work without Van Fleet, but as soon as Adams went down, that was like it. Their offense fell off a cliff. So now it's just watching everybody send doubles at KD and forcing everybody else to beat them, which is hard to watch at times. Like yesterday, I believe they're like 13 or like 3 of 33 or something ridiculous from deep among the starters. Like I don't like Houston. It just feels like they're too predicated on Kevin Durant and don't really have any counters outside of him.
It took a while, but watching them over the last few weeks, they're the team that I said they would be. And he's been the way I said he would be. He's still a great player, but I want to remind people he's still a great player, but he's not in his prime. And the last 3 games I just watched, every team has been ultra physical with them, and the refs has allowed contact that normally in this NBA they're off the ball fouls, but they're not calling it. If you're going to allow people to grab him and be physical with him, he's going to be less effective. Like he's getting roughed up off the ball, and to me, if I'm the Timberwolves, if I'm the Spurs, anybody like that, that's how I'm going to play him. Especially when I know who else on that team can create their own shot consistently. Nobody. Like a man is gifted, but a man can't shoot. So you know all a man's going to do is try to attack the basket. And you're right. Their best offensive play is to miss a shot and gobble up offensive rebounds. But without Steven Adams, they don't rebound as well, even with Şengün in. I think the Rockets have a very real chance of being a first round exit.
Makes sense. Yeah, I think return of Van Fleet will help, but yeah, they're going to need some size or some more efficiency. They're going to have to pick a lane.
You know what? I actually thought they were going to make a move and try to get Drew Holiday. I did. I thought they were going to try to see if they could wriggle Drew Holiday away. Maybe they thought Portland might release him or do a buyout. But the funny thing is, the Blazers still have a chance to be in the play-in, and Drew's played great for them. And so that's not an option. But I thought they need a true point guard, and that would help. I don't think that would solve all their problems, but that would be a start.
I do think Portland ends up passing Golden State. No Steph, no Jimmy. Yeah, wrap it up. Unless they're going to get some insane out of nowhere performance, like Pods goes on a heater. Yeah, that's over. I have an answer on who I'm low on, like on the Eastern side of things, but I feel like it'd be a scorching hot take to some.
Wait a minute. You're going to say you're low on the Pistons.
You're correct. I think the Pistons deserve the respect that they're getting, and I'm not going to call them fraudulent because they very clearly have shown that they can win basketball games. But I'm also very concerned about the Detroit Pistons in the playoffs. I think their defense is playoff, built to perfection.
Agreed.
I don't think their offense is. I think there's just not enough creation around Cade Cunningham. I think teams are going to pretty much do the old, hey, you know what? We're going to place our center on one of your non-shooters, and they have plenty. Stuart Thompson's great, but he's not threatening anybody out of the paint. Guys like Ron Holland and even Jalen Duren are great, but they're not threatening anybody outside of 3 feet. think, Durant has added a little bit more to his game, but I don't think the Pistons have enough shooting
Agreed.
around them and shot creation to make a deep run. So, like I said, I'm not going to call them fraudulent because I think that's too harsh. But I am very concerned about the Pistons and outside creation if you're not named Cade Cunningham.
All I'm saying is great minds think alike. That's why I knew you were talking about the Pistons, because that's how I feel about the Pistons. And I've been saying, okay, they're going to do something before the trade deadline. They're going to bring in another shot creator. They didn't do that. I'm sorry. If your strategy is going to be we're going to be physical and muck up every game, and not worry about what we do offensively, I think that can work in the regular season because you can play playoff level basketball, which they do in the regular season. I don't think that works in the postseason because everybody else steps their game up. They're not good enough offensively to go on a deep playoff run. And I don't want to be disrespectful because they've had a great regular season. But I'll say this. I don't know if they lose in the first round, but they're not going to be in the conference finals.
Yeah, no, that Robinson and Huerta are two good 3-point shooter, but
Kevin Huerter has been living off of what he did like years ago. Look at Kevin Huerter's numbers. Is he still a good 3-point shooter?
I'd say, well, I think the challenge with those two guys though is we've seen them go on heaters, but we've seen them both also disappear for long stretches of the playoffs.
Right, especially Huerter.
They're shooters that are very predicated on coming around screens and pin downs, and a lot of the times, though, physicality can bother them. So while I've seen Duncan Robinson go crazy, shout out to his 75% shooting series against the Bucks, back in the 2023 upset, I've also seen, Duncan and Kevin both, when the games get more physical and the defense gets real tight on them, I've kind of seen them falter a lot. So yeah. I'm concerned about that. But
yeah,
hey, like I said, I think the Pistons have been great, though. I love what they're doing. And at this rate, they're probably going to make me look like idiots and end up in the finals. But that's all good for me.
Guess what? They can make us both look wrong. But here's the thing. It's about your identity. The thing that makes the Celtics good is that even though Tatum's been out, they're still one of the best point shooting teams in the NBA, right? And in this NBA, if you can shoot the three, you're always going to be a flowing and dangerous offense. The Pistons don't shoot the three well as a team. And Duncan Robinson and especially Kevin Huerter, they're not built for the postseason, especially Kevin Huerter. I don't know that Kevin Huerter's ever played well in the postseason.
Yeah, it's funny though. The guy I'm probably more excited about to see in the playoffs is Marcus Sasser. See what he's got for this team. But you know what's? Here's the thing though. I don't think would the Cavs and Magic be frauds if they got knocked out early, or is that just kind of what they've been doing? I'm not sure. If I can call, for example, the Cavs, how fraudulent are they if they get knocked out? In the second round, that just almost seems status quo, what we should have expected. So, Cavs and Magic are weird in the sense that I'm not are they fraudulent relative to what they've shown who they are this season?
And here's the thing: Orlando hasn't been good this year, right? You and I thought they'd be a top 3 team in the East. We thought that Paolo would take this huge leap. And to his credit, he's played well this last month. But overall, I would say that they've underachieved. If the Magic get knocked out in the first round, I don't think that's an upset. I think that's just them staying true to what they've been all year long.
Yeah, and that's almost why, I look at Magic and Cavs, I don't think at this point they'd be fraudulent. I just think that's just who they are. I'd be slightly disappointed in Cleveland, but moving parts aren't always easy to integrate in the middle of the season, swapping out Harden for Garland and all that. So
that's a big piece too. Yeah, I agree. And here's the thing. If Cleveland gets knocked out early, this is funny, but it's low-hanging fruit. And you've been around the NBA long enough to know, Brett, if they get knocked out early, I don't care what anybody says, who's going to take the brunt of the blame, even though it might not be his fault. They're going to absolutely destroy James Harden on social media.
Lonzo Ball to the Rock. I don't think Lonzo has any knees left. Is the problem?
Yeah, he can't move.
Like, I love the Lonzo pickup before the season started. I was not even going to front. I thought Cleveland was great for that, but
Me too.
like he just doesn't have legs under him. Like his jumpers were all short. He wasn't necessarily going to the rim a ton before the injuries, so he definitely isn't, stepping inside the arc after. At this point, like, speedy guards can give him problems. I love Lonzo Ball. Great story, but I think it's just pretty much over for him at this point.
Yeah, he I thought he had a future if he was healthy as a 3-and-D wing, but he looks slow against other wings. Like he can't stay in front of anybody. I don't know if his body will ever be 100% either. I don't think people realize the significance of the injury that he had, the multiple surgeries that he had. The fact that he even was on a roster and went out there competing is impressive to me. But in terms of him being impactful, as a fan, I hope he can turn it around and resurrect his career next season. But right now, I don't know anybody that would take a flyer on him.
Fun, by the way. These guys are fun. I love Phoenix. I think they play the game the right way. Like they're just young, athletic, exciting. Like, do I think that they're going to upset anybody in the first round? No, but do I think that they're a team that's probably going to push whoever they face to 7 games? Using youth and athleticism and some timely shooting. Like, yeah, absolutely. Like, and they've had a lot of really fun, like underrated contributors. Like, you've heard. Yeah, I'd say you've heard names like Royce O'Neal, but how about Colin Gillespie this year?
And one of my favorite players. I'm always going to root for Devin Booker, right? I'm going to root for Book. I think they've had a great season in terms of what people projected them to be. I don't know if they're going to go on a deep playoff run. I'm not there. I would say they have a realistic shot to maybe get into the postseason, but I don't think they're going to win a first round series.
Yeah, like I said, I think they're kind of right where they're showing. Like, I think they're good enough to push any team to 7 games, but
yeah.
I don't think they're going to have what it takes to win a series. But I think they'll be one of the more fun watches in the first round. Yeah, that's true. If the Cavs fail early, Mobley's inability to make threes will be a major cut.
Agreed. Yep.
Hey, you know what? Mobley should be doing backflips so that they got James Harden, because we all know whose fault it's going to be if they fall short, regardless of what happens.
Right. Even if Mobley goes 2 for 30 for the series on threes, they're not going to look at Mobley. They're going to look at James Harden.
He's just so interesting too. It's interesting how the blame always falls on Harden. Like, my favorite is still by far like the 2023 playoffs, when Harden like single-handedly won the Sixers 2 games.
I know.
And they lose in the series.
And
they're like, this is all James Harden's fault. Like, hello, the MVP's right there.
Right. By the way, chat, this is an ongoing argument that I still have with the NFL genius Gene Wolzak, who's a Sixer fan, that he talks about how awful Harden was in other games. And I point out something that's obvious. He won 2 games. He's not the league MVP. You know how many games the league MVP won the Sixers? 0. Nothing. But the guy that got killed for them losing the series was James Harden.
Yeah, no, it was truly incredible how that works. Hey, how about some puppy prospects, Mo? I got somebody who's actually playing tonight.
Let's do it.
How about AJ Dimebasta? I don't have enough good things to say about this kid. Like, and he's so unique, right? When he's like trying to create shots, he almost does it for a more modern comp. Like, I see a lot of like Siakam, Jaylen Brown kind of jab steps. But then you watch his athleticism and you're like, holy cow, this is way beyond anything that Siakam and Jaylen Brown are capable of. I like his ability to read the floor and make plays off the dribble. However, part of the cons is his decision making. It still gets him at times, and he does turn the ball over too much. He's got to work on his turnover issue, but he has shown a willingness to at least attempt to make plays for others, and I think that's really good to have. And he plays with high energy. He's very switchable, but he does have a selective motor. But I do think the selective motor thing is more because he does have one of the highest usage rates in all of college basketball. I think they're just gassing him so much on offense that he's got to pick and choose his spots carefully. So I do think that while I have it down as a con for motor, selective motor, I do think that's more of a necessity thing than something that he personally wants to do.
Right. This guy's incredibly talented, and I love the player comp that he's kind of he's got that he could be very T Mac like. He has that potential, that shot creation, that size, that athleticism. And I hope you're right about the selective motor thing because if not, then I would say that he might end up being like T Mac, I guess, would be what the peak could be.
Yeah.
But if he's going to be more of the selective motor, like not necessarily go all out all the time, then that would mean that it would probably end up being more like Andrew Wiggins, because Andrew Wiggins throughout his career has had a selective motor.
I think, like I said, his high end T Mac. I think his medium. I still think that's a multi-time All-Star. I'm thinking that's like Pascal Siakam level caliber player. And yeah, I think his low end is almost like jumbo-sized RJ Barrett. Like, I feel like that this is going to be a quality rotation player in one way or another. It's just the question is he going to be a quality rotation piece, All-Star, or superstar? And I do think he's one of the few guys that does have that superstar potential.
Yeah, and look, we talk about this a lot. Where you get drafted, the culture you get drafted to, that could impact him going forward as well. Look, I agree with the ceiling is, and I like the fact you said Barrett. I think Barrett is. I don't know if Barrett's necessarily better than Wiggins, but I get that. That's around the same place. But if you said Barrett and that was the worst thing he would be, you're still talking about a guy averaging 20 points a game. So yeah, worst case scenario, he would be a high level piece for a contender versus being the franchise player. But his potential is so high. I don't doubt all the teams are gonna be clamoring to try to take him, depending on where the draft lottery lands.
Yeah, and he's just so fluid too. Like, just such a natural basketball player. Like, one of those guys you watch him and you're like, yeah, he hoops just with how fluid his movements are. And I do agree with this, by the way. That's why, like, for example, when I do a lot of these player comps, I don't give out like superstar player comps all the time. It's really only for like who I think are really going to hit that, who could possibly hit it like top end of the draft guys. And I do think AJ is just so smooth and fluid with the basketball that if he could just cut down on those turnovers at the next level and hit the right system, like I put a fun fit, for example, would be the Pacers, him and Hallie. But give him the right system, and this kid could be an absolute superstar.
I agree. You got a chance. And I to answer John's question, yeah, I think a lot of guys are going to move. I think a lot of guys are going to be moved around. The Knicks are not going to pay Mitchell Robinson probably what he and his agent are going to look for. They're going to give him a fair offer. I don't think the fair offer is going to be enough to retain his services, but um, I think CJ McCallum would like to go to a contender. I think Kelly Oubre is a good all around player, a good veteran who can still score and defend. So yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of movement in the offseason. And I would not be shocked if Draymond Green is not on the Golden State Warriors next season.
Yeah, I think Dre stays. Walker Kessler, I think he stays. I think they'll pay him. Jalen Duren, I think he stays, but I do think it's interesting if more people miss time on the All NBA team, then we might be looking at him sneaking onto the third team, and then all of a sudden Supermax comes into play. CJ McCollum, I think he's definitely gone. Kelly Oubre, I think he's probably going to move on. Kuminga, I think he stays, and I feel like Mitchell Robinson kind of has to stay, though. Like, either that or you need a new defensive center. on
Yeah,
that roster because you can't run Cat and another either poor defender. That would just be brutal.
no, I agree, but I think that Mitchell Robertson's skill set is replaceable.
Yeah.
Because he's a zero range player. He has no post game. He can't shoot, can't make free throws. Like he's a situational player. He's a great rebounder, especially as an offensive rebounder, and he's a shot blocker. I would not pay that person that I described. I'm not making that guy my starting center, paying him $35 million a year. He's not worth it. I'm not doing that. I and the idea of putting Mitchell Robinson with Zion, that won't work because Zion can't shoot and Mitchell Robinson can't do anything outside the restricted area. Like that would be a terrible pairing because Mitchell Robinson is he's just an incomplete player. Like Mitchell Robinson makes Rudy Gobert look like Akeem Olajuwon.
Yeah. Let's see. I think the challenge with this idea is I do think that that's the optimal way to play. Mitchell Robinson is kind of like Tyson Chandler. The problem with trying to do it on the Pelicans is, for example, Tyson worked the best in Dallas, for example, when you put him with guys like Dirk Nowitzki. He goes to the Knicks. He's playing with somebody who had some range in Amari Stoudemire. I think the challenge with a Robinson Zion pairing is just you're just going to have two guys in the paint at all times because Robinson's a non-shooter, and then of course Zion's a non-shooter, and then Herb Jones is a non-shooter if you play that lineup. So the spacing kind of gets very mucky with Mitchell Robinson, especially if we're trying to play also Zion and Herb.
And that's all I'm saying. I think for Mitchell Robinson to be truly effective, I think he would have to be surrounded by guys that can not just create shots, but are shooters who are good shooters. And it's not like Mitchell Robinson isn't Dwight Howard. You could put Dwight Howard around and have shooters around him, and Dwight Howard is going to punish you down low. You put shooters around Mitchell Robinson, he still's not going to score. Not going to change anything. And to Kyle's point, when your center shoots 35% from the free throw line, you know what I'm doing late in the game. You better not have Mitchell Robinson in the game because we're just smacking him left and right.
I mean, Trey, sure, but like,
yeah, that's true.
DeJounte is not a consistent scorer. Like, he's very, very inconsistent and inefficient, especially this year. I know he had that really awesome crossover and then he catched a three. That was dope, but yeah, I wouldn't put Murray as a candidate to consistently shoot and score at a decent rate in 2026.
No, and Kyle's right. Mitchell Robinson is nowhere near the athlete that Tyson Chandler is. Tyson Chandler, part of what made him great was he also could play in space. He could play on the perimeter defensively. Like he could show and recover because he was quick and athletic. Mitchell Robinson is not he's big and he can finish at the rim, but he's a stiff. He's not athletic. He's not a quick athlete. He don't have great feet. Like they're not the same player.
So you guys ready? I hope you guys are ready. So if you weren't here for last week's show, we had a lot of fun and we ranked every number one overall pick as if we were doing a big board from 2025 to 2015. So now this week we're going to do another 10 just for fun. So obviously the only rule is you can pick them based on what you know they were coming into the league: height, college production, overseas production. None of their NBA career is taken into consideration for this exercise. So we're not judging Greg Oden based on what he did in the NBA. We're judging Greg Oden on what he did in college before he got to the league. So that makes it really interesting now, doesn't it? But Mo, I think we can agree on who's number 10 and 9, right?
In my opinion, it's easy. It's got to be Anthony Bennett and Bargnani. Gotta be.
Yeah, I completely agree. Taking Bennett number 1. Yeah, there we go, Kyle.
let the titles reign. Let's go.
I think this is where it gets really interesting, though, because as a draft prospect, I almost want to go like. I think next year get into conversations about Wiggins, Cat, Kyrie Irving. It might be Kyrie because as great as the hype was around, like the weird part is obviously he had the hype pre-draft. That's why he went number one, but he did only play 11 college games. So, like, would
Yeah.
he just be number 8 for lack of, college production?
I think so because Wiggins actually played for Kansas. He played throughout for that season, and so he was hyped. But you actually get to see him play and put up numbers. Kyrie, you only saw 11 games, so I know I didn't. I knew he was talented, but I didn't. I wouldn't have picked him as high as he got picked.
And you know what's funny? I do think you're on to definitely 1 and 2. If I know a lot of people are stupid high on Anthony Davis, which I get it. So, like, I guess if you want to flip Oden and Davis around, sure. But I think this is the right call because everybody loved Greg Oden coming into the league, and after his collegiate season, obviously he went for the title, but he ran into maybe the worst front court matchup for him in the national championship game when he ran into Horford, Jakeem Noah at Florida duo.
Right.
So I do think you definitely nailed 1 and 2 with being Greg Oden and Anthony Davis.
Yeah. I don't. Oden was so dominant, especially on the defensive side of the floor, and scary on the offensive side of the floor because you forget a lot of people like he could finish right hand or left hand, like and I don't mean just dunking on people, but with finesse, with footwork, like the potential of what he could have been was insane. So I'm not going to argue with anybody that has Oden 1 or Davis 1. I think those are definitely 1 and 2.
Yeah, no, and this is the challenge. Like, I think as a prospect, I would have taken Kyrie over Andrew Wiggins.
Yeah.
Just say so. Honestly, Kyrie still probably just beats out Wiggins, and he might end up beating out. Like, I think that after Wiggins is where it gets challenging for Kyrie because then you run into like, okay, Kyrie or Karl Anthony Towns in college, coming into the draft, or Kyrie or Blake Griffin, Like I feel like this is where the Kyrie convos for me get really hard.
No, I think that's the thing about Kyrie because you only have the 11 games, and again we're judging them off of what they did in college and what they were projected to be. No one's arguing that Kyrie was talented, but we're talking about within this draft against these other ones. I don't think Kyrie goes beyond where that. I really don't because you got to look at Blake. Blake came out with a lot of hype, put up numbers. I that's a tough one. That's a tough one. John Wall was a monster. A monster.
No, absolutely. Like honestly, John Wall to me was number 3. So
right.
I did agree with T3 and D about John Wall being 3 because oh my goodness, just what a prospect.
Hey, you're not alone, T3 and D. I believed in Jabari Parker too, but man, the injury gods were unkind.
My Bucks drafted him. I was stupid high on Jabari Parker. I was ready for him and Giannis to run the league, and it just never came to fruition. Say we so I guess chat. I'll let the chat decide. We'll have a little fun. Chat.
Right.
How would you want to do it? Do you want to go with Kyrie at number 8 and Wiggins at 7, or Wiggins at 8 and Kyrie at 7? In your opinion, who was the better draft? Who would you take on your big board between the two? Yeah, it's college Anthony Davis having more blocks than some entire teams was just the most wild thing ever. And he was sharing a front court with what was it, Cat and was it Cat and like I think there was another one.
Oh, Wiggins don't forget. Yeah, Okafor was high too in college, but man, he came into Okafor got drafted and he came into the league with the Sixers right when the league shifted again, and they went away from traditional play in the restricted area post players. And he couldn't do he suffered from two things. One, he couldn't play away from the basket. Two, we talk about selective motor. He didn't have no kind of motor. Jahlil Okafor had the motor of a turtle, an injured turtle.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely fair. Oh, you know what? No, the other center I was thinking of wasn't Cat. It was Willie Cauley-Stein.
Oh, remember
I
him?
knew I knew there
Oh
was
my
another NBA
god!
center that that
Oh my
AD played with,
god! Oh my
but
god!
I was, but it was Cauley-Stein in that era.
You remember when he came out? They said Willie Cauley-Stein was going to be a bigger, longer, more athletic Dennis Rodman. He was nowhere near that.
No, that's fair. That's why. Hey, that's why a lot of my puppy prospects, I have to be stupid high on somebody to actually give them a insane comp like that. Like I'm stupid high on AJ. Say Okafor in the wrong era.
Yes.
I don't know if it,
I don't know if he
there-
wanted to play in Philly, but he didn't play well nowhere else either. He just, I think Kyle's right. Okafor should have been drafted in the 90s.
we did have Zion top 3 in when we did the previous 10. You know, I don't. You know what's weird though? Like I can't figure out what era would be right for Ja Okafor because he's just not a good defender. And if you put him in like the 90s, then he's going against all-time post defenders. Like it feels like maybe the early 2000s would have been the perfect era for Ja Okafor.
Maybe.
But it's tough.
With him, it wasn't about talent though. It was more about want to. He just didn't have it. Like some of these guys come out and you can't make up for mental toughness or want to. They either have it or they don't.
So, John, I'll give you last week's top 10 or how I had them. We had at 1, Wemby, Zion, Cooper Flagg, Ben Simmons. I had Paulo Banchero, Cade Cunningham, and Markelle Fultz, DeAndre Ayton, and then Risher. I think, Wiggins over Kyrie. That's where I was at, but man, Kyrie was such a good prospect. Like, to go number 1 and only play in 11 games is pretty absurd.
To Cleveland's credit, they got it right.
Yeah. That's fair enough. So, you know what? That leaves us we're down to 3. Derrick Rose, Blake Griffin, I'm sure we can probably agree that. I guess it would be Karl Anthony Towns or Andrew Wiggins because I'm sure we'd both put, Blake Griffin, Derrick Rose over Cat.
Yeah, agreed.
So I guess the real question, the former teammates, Wiggins or Cat? I'd say
prospect.
Almost kind of. It's so tough. I kind of want to lean. I almost want to lean towards. I know I was personally higher on Wiggins. I just liked his athleticism and his ability to attack the rim more than Cat. But John Calipari lost D Rhodes that national championship. Wiggins or Cat. That's a good one. I might stick with my gut.
I think for college I would go Wiggins.
I would probably put Wiggins over Cat.
Yep.
Maple Jordan, you have moved up. one of my favorite nicknames.
Yeah. Look, and I hear you, T3 and D, that Okafor averaged 17 as a rookie, but I don't know if that means he was going to have a great career. Remember, Michael Carter
Williams,
was rookie of the year and put up nice numbers, and then his career fell off a cliff. So,
where do you have Kemba? Cardiac Kemba? We haven't gotten to him. Actually, no, because Kemba. I didn't forget Kemba, did I? No, because Kemba wasn't a number 1 overall pick.
the Michael Jordan of Delaware. That's a good one.
Yeah. Oh my gosh! That's think
hilarious,
it was with Dante.
Right?
Yeah, because they were ribbing him on the one podcast that Josh Hart and them do, and that was so funny. Because I remember they were telling him that he ended racism in Delaware because everybody would come together and see him.
No, I did not. I had not heard that. That's hilarious.
I was high on Carter Williams.
Me,
Yeah,
me too. But sometimes you get got because you watch a guy play a season and you go, "Oh, he gonna be nice," and it's like the league adjusted to him, and he never adjusted to the league.
and then the funny part is, it wasn't even like the full season. He just played that one game against the Miami Heat Big Three in his first ever career game, had a triple double, and everybody went crazy for it. To be fair, I loved it.
Just for the record, you know this. You're a Bucks fan. Hey, as a rookie, Brandon Jennings dropped 55, right, or 56.
Never let us live it down.
Right, and he is living off that game to this day. He's still living off that game. Hell,
No.
Rashard McCants had a cup of coffee in the NBA, and he still can't shut up.
That man is talking about how he could have gotten Kobe's 81, and that was the funniest. Like, Tony Allen had the greatest reaction you could have asked for. Just immediately, like, well, that's all the time we got for today. So, like, I guess that leaves two, Mo. Blake Griffin or Derrick Rose?
I'm gonna go Derrick Rose. I thought Derrick Rose was electric in college. I mean, Blake was nice too, and if you went by the numbers, obviously Blake put up better numbers. He was more productive, but I knew Derrick Rose was going to be one of those ones. I knew, like I would have definitely drafted him over Blake.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. Yeah, that's really what I thought when I saw him. Like when he was young, I thought he was the next Sean Livingston. D Rose one. That's fair. All right, hey, why don't I read the list back to you guys? See if you agree with it.
Yeah,
This will be like a community list.
let's do this.
Or let's see if most of it. At least we can agree on most of it. So at number 10, Anthony Bennett. Number 9, Andrea Bargnani. 8, Kyrie. 7, Cat. 6, Andrew Wiggins. 5, Blake Griffin. Number 4, Derrick Rose. Number 3, John Wall. Number 2, Anthony Davis. And 1, Greg Oden.
I like it.
D12 is going to be in the next. So what we're going to do, John, I think you like this, is next week we're going to go, 05 to 95. We're going to go to the next 10, and then just for fun at the end of the month, we're going to throw them all into one big power ranking just for fun.
Super draft.
Yeah, so you will see Dwight Howard, but he's going to be in an absolute murders row next week. So definitely tune in for that. But yeah, I'd say, what do you guys think? What do you guys think of the list? You guys think it looks all good?
Oh no, he said Joe Smith. Yeah.
The guy who like somehow ruined Katie's Wolves career. But yeah, so next week's 10 will be Dwight Howard, LeBron James, Yao Ming, Kwame Brown, Kmart, Elton Brand, Michael Olowokandi, Tim Duncan, Allen Iverson, and of course, Joe Smith.
I can tell you right now that who should have been the two that should have been last, but I won't spoil it.
It's just such a funny run of like number 1 overall picks because you go Allen Iverson, Tim Duncan, then it's just here's Michael Olowokandi and
but
Kwame.
That was back when the Clippers were clearly the stupidest franchise in the NBA. Like just trying to overthink and be smart. There were tons of talented players, but they were like, no, there's this guy at Pacific. You don't know what we know.
That was maybe the most impressive thing about those two. It was their body control and ability to decelerate on command. It was crazy.
Yeah, I agree.
Candy and Kwame 1-on-1. Who says no?
Ooh, who stays up for the ending? Because that's gonna be a long game.
We might have to just make like a 1-on-1 to like 3 because
Yeah.
that game might go a minute if we try
Yeah.
to like do anything to like past 5. Yeah, the women's team is balling.
Whew.
Hey, say we got
Oh.
that. Say we got Caitlin's playing with them right now. Hey, Shaq barely misses the cutoff, but hey, you know what? Might keep going just for fun at a certain point. But yeah, no, we're TJ Ford only faster per insane than D Rose and Walt.
He was really quick. I mean, he wasn't the athlete that they were, but he was ultra quick.
You know what? I just like TJ Ford because he has that one iconic picture of the like jersey that didn't fit. Like, okay, I don't know if anybody's ever seen this picture of TJ Ford, but it is terrific in my opinion. You're telling me you couldn't get him something that fit a little better than like I don't know. To me, it just seems like they gave him a jersey that was one size too big, and it is well past his knees.
Those look like pants, basically. Wow, that's crazy.
I always thought that was the funniest picture ever. Like for some reason, they just gave TJ. It's like, yeah, your jersey didn't come in for picture day, but here's like Andrew Bogut's jersey, man. Just kind of rock that for a minute.
Maybe that's what happened.
That jersey was like 6 sizes too big, right?
Facts. Yeah, agreed. TJ Ford was out of Texas, right? I believe.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but yeah, say I know at least plan on going back to 95, and this might be something we'll more pick back up in the off season. Maybe one day we'll just do a all-time number 1 draft list for fun. They mixed up his and Mirasan's
George Mirasan. You know what? That makes sense. Mirasan, yeah, that makes sense.
Say no, but yeah, hey, we had a historic night. It was a great time. But that's all I really had for us today. Mo, anything you want to add?
No, I always appreciate T3 and D, Reed, John, Kyle, the crew, everybody that chimed in and joined us tonight. Thank you guys. You guys are so informative, on point with your questions and answers. So thank you guys for joining us. I hope you guys will join us again next Thursday.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, if you want more, you can check out the And One Facebook page, or you can join the And One podcast Discord, which is on the Facebook page. So we thank you guys for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your night.